My name is Donna and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television and radio talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday. We get 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You can find us on television. We're on Abundance Television, been with them many years, and that's found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. We appreciate that. And also, we're on the radio, the biggest country station in South Carolina, WZLA. 92.9 FM on the dial. As a matter of fact, before we moved to South Carolina, we were listening to that station online. Just to kind of get the idea what the community was like and that kind of thing. But anyway, go ahead and check them out as well. Continue sending email, Donna@donnasedge.com. That's Donna@donnasedge.com. I definitely appreciate every single email. And by the way, when you go ahead and do that and send an email to me, you are automatically put into a drawing every Friday. We give away all kinds of restaurant cards. So thank you again so much for being with us and for staying out with us. We definitely appreciate that. I have DeJoly with me right now, and she's one of my friends. We've been friends how many years now?
At least 15.
Yeah, well, it feels like we've been sisters for a lifetime. As a matter of fact, you're my sister. And
hello, sister.
There you go, sis. But thank you again so much for being on the show with me. Now, DeJoly is an author and a speaker, and you travel all over the country, and definitely appreciate what you do. And so we're going to talk about something really important today, and that's about a New Year's resolution. Why do we do that? Why do we get ourselves just put into this bucket somewhere where we feel like we've got to have these resolutions?
I think it's just social pressure. I'm a life coach, and I try to help my clients understand that making a promise to yourself is different from making a resolution, because a resolution is like you feel disappointed and guilty and all that when you don't do it. And usually by this time of January, people have pretty much given up on their resolutions. But if you make a promise to yourself and you care enough about yourself to follow through with your promises, then you're going to do it. There's not as much pressure, and there's also some gentleness about it, where you understand that I can make it again. I can start again. I don't have to have it done by January 15th, or I don't have to lose that weight by March 1st, or whatever. You don't have to put the pressure on yourself when you make a promise to yourself. You can say, I want to be more in alignment with the weight that works for me, or I want to be more fit, and hopefully by the end of the year, you don't have to say by a date, but by the end of the year, I'll feel much better with my health. I'll have good blood pressure. I'll be able to lift weights. I'll be able to walk a mile, whatever. And so there's not like that pressure of putting specific requirements on you.
Yeah, and that's what I did. My son, of course, he's in his 40s now, but after he was born, I put on like 30-something pounds, and so I wanted to lose that. So I waited. He was born in March, and so in May. And so I thought, well, you know what, January 1st, I'm going to wait until January 1st and go on that diet. It didn't last a week. But I did wind up losing the weight. But I started it in June. But I think my mind was more focused. For some reason, I was ready to do it. So why would that be important?
To allow yourself to come in alignment with what really matters to you, because you're busy taking care of your child. You're not going to try to stress yourself at the very same time that you're caring for a newborn to be on a diet. So that's one thing. But the other thing is that maybe your body wasn't ready to lose that protection.
Well, I think it was. I felt really weak, even though I was basically just cutting down. I wasn't starving myself to death, but I think that was part of it. I felt like I wasn't all there mentally for him, so I felt like, well, I'll just leave that behind and I'll do it another time.
Well, and that means that you were listening to your body. You were allowing yourself to be okay, that you weren't you weren't exorbitantly fat. You weren't lazy. Hell, you were taking care of a newborn baby.
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah, that is a lot of responsibility. That's a lot of work, too. It's not just responsibility, it's work. For anybody that's a stay-at-home mom or has raised
I
children, you know
commend
for
women who
sure.
are stay-at-home moms. I commend them.
Yes. So, that's the thing, is you allow yourself to do it when you're ready, not when some preconceived notion of, you have to do it by such and such a date. That your body may not be ready on that date. So that's when I say be gentle with yourself, because you don't have to be so strict and feel so guilty, because that's one of the things that people do, is they can start feeling guilty and stressed over it. And when your body's stressed, it can't lose weight. It's the buildup of cortisol keeps you from losing weight, the stress. So allow yourself to come down from that pressure and just be calm about it, and it happens.
Well, it kind of boiled down into priorities, because Brad had to be the priority. I mean, I had to care for him. I had to do those things.
Yeah.
So he got a little older. He started crawling around, and so I felt always responsible, even now in his late 40s. But even so, you always keep that responsibility going. But my priority at that time was not necessarily losing weight. It was taking care of him. Because you know what? Babies don't come with books. The doctor didn't say, "Oh, here's a book."
They're not on a time schedule either.
No, they're not. So the priority had to be him, number one. But now you also kind of have to put yourself in there somewhere. There's a reason. You've talked about this before. When you take a flight and you have a child with you, they tell the mom to go ahead and put that on, the mask on first, then the baby. So there's a point there, because as women we feel like, well, I got to put the family first, and then I'm last. Tell me about what you think about that.
Oh, I definitely think that we're first. Our priority has to be us, even though we have a lot of responsibilities. I work, I have clients that I care for, and I want them to have a good result from working with me. But I know that if I'm not healthy, if I'm not doing my personal work, then I'm not going to be able to help them. So the analogy of using the airline stewardess who says, put the air mask on yourself first, that's important, because if you're dead because you didn't get any oxygen, you can't help your child.
Right.
You can't help anyone else if you haven't taken care of your own health, your own mental health, your spiritual health, physically. So it's really important for us to prioritize ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's all part of it right there. There's also the responsibility. We talked about other people, your spouse and your children and those things. But I wanted to mention this guy. His name is Bobby Ledbetter with Twin City Used Car Sales, and he's in Gadsden, Alabama. Now, this guy's a driver if I've ever seen one. This guy can make things happen. And so I want to talk about the person who's a little more passive, not quite so much like Bobby. I know when Bobby makes a decision to do something, he's thought about it now. He's planned it, and he's done all these things, but when he's ready to do it. So let's talk about the person maybe just a little bit more passive about how they make decisions. Is that a good thing, or is that a bad thing?
I think that we have to understand our attachment, our communication with our own selves. We have to understand what our body wants. We have to understand what we need financially, what we need security-wise. We have to understand all of our aspects of our life. So if we're what you might call passive, I don't really call someone passive, but I call them somebody who's still in the reflection zone, where they're reflecting on themselves and they're reflecting on what they need. If they're really in true communication with themselves, then they will understand that I can make a decision when I'm ready to make a decision. I don't have to make a decision right now just because somebody else told me I have to, or because society says I should. I know myself well enough that it's when it's time for me to make a decision. And so even though Bobby is a go-getter and a I got this kind of guy, there are people who say I've got it, but they're very quiet. They know when their body and their mind and their heart is ready to make a decision, and they move. And, so for me, it's like the world is made up of millions of different kinds of people, and each person has their own start set. In other words, you know when it's time to move toward that quote goal. For me, I don't consider them goals. I consider them visions of where they want to move to.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like if I have a vision of in a year, I want to be able to walk 3 miles. I might want to even get in a 5K run. I'm going to do all the little steps beforehand, but I'm not going to say I have to do this by this time. If I know that my vision is that I'm healthy enough to do that, then everything will fall into line. So I don't have to have a preconceived notion of when that has to be done. But I have the vision.
Well, let's use this as an example, because sometimes there are steps you have to take to get to that point. But you have to know what those steps are. So how do you find out what those steps are?
Well, there are a lot of ways. Google it. But, for me, I know when my body says rest. I was so down on myself in the past for resting. But our bodies need time to recoup from every little piece of stress we have. I mean, we get inundated with the news, with the noise, with all kinds of chaos and all kinds of things that unknowingly will create stress in our body.
Yeah.
So if you're not in tune with your body, then you're going to go ahead and do, and then you're going to fall apart because you haven't met your goal, right? I haven't lost my 15 pounds, and then when you don't lose the 15 pounds, you get really upset with yourself and you stop that forward motion.
Or go on a crash diet and get sicker.
Yes, exactly. And so for me, it's kind of like, if I make it, okay, and if I don't, okay. I don't have to have that preconceived idea of where I have to be, when I have to be, and all that, because I'm more in tune with my body. And I try to help people understand that about themselves. That there's no, like when I'm in a coaching session and somebody starts to cry and they say, oh, I'm bad for crying. And I said, no. All emotions are welcome here, because you have to have a safe place to let go and allow yourself to have those experiences of your emotions, of your stress. Allow yourself to de-stress and not feel guilty for resting your body or resting your mind. I mean, that's when I say breathe. We talked about breathing before, but
I learned to breathe through you.
Yes,
that was a huge help in my life. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. It's really important to learn how to breathe and how to sit still, and because a lot of people are so much in the process of move that they don't even understand that it's important to sit still, and then it's hard for them to do it. So you can take it in increments of a minute at a time. Every emotion passes through you at 90 seconds. It only lasts 90 seconds. It can be a crisis, and 90 seconds later, it's nothing. So if you can sit still for 90 seconds, then add another 90 seconds, and then another 90 seconds. And that's kind of like meditation, And you can also sit in your, I do this, I sit in my recliner and I look out my window into the woods, and that's meditation. Anytime you're in nature, for sure, you're meditating, because your whole process shuts down, but it quiets and allows you to have that space of, oh, isn't this the most beautiful space I'm in right now? And when you feel that way, you're in a meditative state. So that is allowing yourself to relax, to rest, and not feel guilty for doing it.
There you go. Can you believe we have to go into a commercial break already? We'll be right back in just a few minutes. And everybody hang in there. We'll be right back. Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Because of your overwhelming support, our 1488 MyPillow has been one of the biggest sales in MyPillow history. I couldn't think of a better way to say thank you than to extend our wholesale pricing through Christmas. Get a classic standard MyPillow for only $14.88. Upgrade to a queen size, just $18.88. King size, only $1 more. Get my body pillows for only $29.88. And ready? Multi-use MyPillows, only $9.88. It's perfect time to stock up for Christmas gifts for everyone on your list. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our wholesale pricing, including my classic standard MyPillows, only $14.88. But that's not all. I'm so confident you're going to love our classic MyPillows that I'm going to extend my 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2025. Plus, orders over $75 ship absolutely free.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Piesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television and Radio Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone, so I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. We are at Twin City Used Car Sales. Bobby Ledbetter is the owner of this business. We've been dealing with Bobby for a number of years. All of our, even from South Carolina, we come down here to buy our vehicles. So that tells you what the customer service is like. Absolutely. But we come down here and do that. You can find him on the web web, by the way, at BobbyLedbetter.com. And let me tell you why you really need to think about buying a car, even if you live up in South Carolina, or if you live further up north than that. Bobby's cars are Southern cars. You know why that's important? Because now you folks who live up north, you get all this snow all the time, and in your road conditions, you have to use a lot of salt. And that really does damage the undercarriage of that vehicle. Now, if you get a car here from the South, from Bobby Ledbetter, Twin City Used Car Sales in Gadsden, you're getting a Southern car, and that's going to be a much better car. It's going to last you many, many more years than having all that stuff under the undercarriage. But anyway, go ahead and check him out, BobbyLedbetter.com. You'll be totally proud that you did that. Okay, I have DeJoly with me right now, and DeJoly is an author and a speaker. You need to tell folks how they can find your books, by the way.
You can find my books on Amazon, Amazon.com, and look up my name, DeJoly LaBrier. I also have a website, DeJoly.com, and you can also find me on Facebook. I have a private group that you can get into just answering a few questions. It's called Write and Rise, because in my coaching business, I also use writing prompts to help people get in touch with that inner part of themselves that really doesn't have a chance to speak most of the time because we're so busy doing that we just don't sit still and allow ourselves to be present with ourselves. So,
you know, one thing you taught me, and this is about having a journal, about writing down your feelings. I'm just telling you that works.
Yes.
And breathing, but anyway, that really does work. So, how much time should I, even if it's only 5 minutes a day, would that help?
Well, you know, I have group coaching groups as well, and I always tell them writing a book is one sentence at a time. So if you're going from your kitchen to your bedroom and you have a Post-it note, you can write a sentence on that Post-it note and move on, because you can express all of that moment, that feeling, that all of that later when you sit down and expand it. But in the moment, you can write a book on Post-it notes for however long it takes. But for me, it's like, yes, journaling is absolutely crucial. I remember when I was going through my recovery process, and one of the things that I knew to do was to write, because I'd always been a writer. So I did. I started journaling. A lot of people start, back in the day, they called them diaries, right? Remember those diaries that had a little lock on them, that everybody could get into? Lock, forget it, But journaling is so important because you can not only express your feelings, you can also express what's going on in the day. You can, with the prompts that I give, you go a little bit deeper into your feelings of what's really bothering you or what's really making you feel joyful or whatever. Rather than just say, I'm happy, you want to be specific about what's making you happy because you want more of that. Let's be really specific here. I like such and such. And so if you say that on your way from the bathroom to the kitchen, write it down and then move on. So yes, journaling to me has always been one of the most important parts of recovery. And so I use that as part of my coaching so that they can get an idea of what really seriously is going on for them.
I feel there's actually no graduation day from this because you're constantly learning and you're constantly developing. I think the only time you're not developing is when you go on to the greater world. That's the only time. Right. So I have an aunt who's like 104 years old, and so she lives by herself, by the way. And I mean, she does everything herself. And so, but the key is first of all, she loves reading.
And she probably doesn't have a cell phone.
No, she doesn't.
That's important.
She stays at, now she knows what's going on. She's very political, by the way, loves Donald J. Trump. When she turned 100, he sent her.
Seriously?
He definitely
awesome.
sent her, she loves him. But anyway, she says the whole idea of her staying alive gardening, she says, got to get your hands dirty. You must do that to survive in life, and your feet. for that. She loved to go barefoot outside. She said, "Oh, that's healing when you do that." But it's just that she liked nature, and she loves to read because she said, something, and I'll say, "Well, you know so much in your brain," and she said, "Well, I don't feel like I'm not done yet. I'm still learning because you young people have all these phones and all this kind of stuff." And she said, by the way, she's an antique collector. So when I've been to her house,
She's collecting herself.
Oh my goodness! So she'll say, "Now get on that phone thing you've got and tell me what the value of this is." It'll be something that she's got at an auction or whatever. But I think that's healthy because it keeps her growing and she keeps learning and she keeps evolving and she's going on in life. But my point is when you're writing all these things down, and maybe because we're all going to get a little down, you're going to have a little down day. That's just life. That's just what it's going to be. Maybe you're watching too much of the news and that will get you down. But the point is you can go back through what you've been writing in your journal and go, "Wow, I grew from this." That's what helps me is to see what I've grown from, because sometimes you get so busy trying to grow that you can't see what you've learned. It could be huge lessons in life.
And also in journaling, you can always put down what your vision is for what you're going to be.
That's a great idea.
What you would like to be. You sit in that space and say, "Oh, it feels good to have a nice jacuzzi in my backyard," in the middle of winter. And then you walk through the world differently when you have an idea of what really is that you really like.
I think so.
You walk through the world differently as you progress into that. You put yourself into that feeling of being that person who's already got it, right? And for me, I look back on my journals. I look back and I'll read and I'll say, "Wow, I did that. Look at what I wrote that I was going to do, and look, I did it."
I did it.
Because you have a way to look back and say, "I did progress through those problems. I progressed through that weight loss. I progressed through that graduation with my son. I graduated all of that." And you can say, and without too much hassle. I mean, when we're in the middle of chaos, we think it's going to last forever. But just like every emotion, it lasts 90 seconds. The chaos can also pass, and one way you can do that is to turn around and walk the other direction. Turn off your phone. All kinds of things.
And the television.
Yes, and the television. You can mitigate those situations so that you are not in the middle of that chaos and that negativity, and that you bring more positive things into your life, like nature. I like to watch a lot of kitten and puppy videos. It does. And I also now last Christmas I got myself, not this past Christmas, but a year ago, I got myself a stray who came out from underneath the church where I do yoga.
So you rescued?
I rescued a little gray, what I thought was going to be a kitten, and he happened to be a year old. I didn't know that. But he's gotten to be from 8 pounds up to 16 pounds.
Wow.
And he's a very healthy big boy, But that makes me feel good. He brings me a lot of joy. And so I have that in my house all the time now. That little bit of joy just is like, yay, I've got that, And I think everybody has to find things that they get joy from. Like even if it's a picture of your son as a baby, keep it handy so you can look at it, or yourself. One thing I wear this tiara for, I have 15 different tiaras, but I wear these tiaras to honor myself because I've come through a lot of things, and not everybody will honor their own selves, let alone, other people honor you more than you do yourself. True. So I wear a tiara to say, this is how I honor myself. I have made it through a lot of things, and that means that I'm celebrating my success at life. Even if I'm not, a billionaire or anything like that, I have a lot of things in my life that I've done positively, and even the negative things that came about, I made it through. Look, I'm here,
And scars are okay.
Scars are okay.
Absolutely. But less than a minute left in this segment. How can folks get in contact with you? How can they find your books?
Amazon.com, and also on my website, DeJoly.com, DeJoly.com, DeJoly.com. and on Facebook. You can find me there. And I'd enjoy hearing from anybody. And if you're interested in workshops, I give once a month, I give a free half-hour workshop. It's only a little bit of time, so you can see a little bit of what I do, and also get some tips on how to work through some things you might be trying to attempt to work through, like resolutions. But anyway, that's where you can find me.
Absolutely. We're going to have to call it a day. Again, thank you so much for watching. And continue sending email. They make my day. Donna at donnasedge.com. Thanks for watching.